We have news just reaching us that about 40 people have been killed after unknown gunmen suspected to be bandits in Zorak village, Bashir district in Wase local government area of Plateau State. The attack, which also left many locals injured in the region. The attack, which also left many locals injured, also recorded many houses burnt beyond repair in the well-known mining site. Details of the incident are still sketchy, but Safi Sambo, who is an eyewitness, said the gunmen entered the village at about 8 o'clock on Monday night on motorcycles and started shooting sporadically. Safi Sambo, who adds that other villagers have fled to neighboring villages for safety, said that the incident was not quickly reported to the security because of poor road and communication network in the area. However, no security agency has given details of the incident, but as developments unfold, we'll bring to you details in our subsequent bulletins. The National Union of Electricity Employees and the Senior Staff Association of Electricity and Allied Companies on Monday stopped business activities at the headquarters of the Federal Ministry of Power in Abuja. Members of the two bodies also locked out the Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, and other workers of the ministry, stopping access to the Powerhouse building in the Maitama district of Abuja. And this was as the Nigeria Labour Congress and Trade Union Congress gave the federal government a deadline of May 31st, 2024 to reverse the hike in electricity tariff. The unions took the decision at the end of a jointly held National Executive Council meeting. The acting General Secretary of NUI, Igwe BK Dominic, told newsmen that the shutdown of the Power Ministry would continue until the government listens to the demands of the union or calls for a meeting to address the issues. Meanwhile, organized labor, comprising Nigeria Labour Congress and Trade Union Congress, has reiterated its May 31st, 2024 ultimatum to the federal government to meet all its demands, which includes implementation of a new minimum wage and reversal of the hike in electricity tariff. This followed a Monday meeting of the National Executive Councils of the NLC and TUC in response to the pressing national issues affecting Nigerian workers. Among the issues discussed by the labor leaders was persistent non-compliance with the 2019 National Minimum Wage Act by some state governments. In the resolution jointly signed by NLC President Joe Ajero and TUC leader Festus Osifo, the labor unions also directed their members in Anambra State to mobilize for industrial action in the event that the state government did not meet the demands of workers by May 23, 2024. And now to politics. Members of the Rivers State House of Assembly loyal to Governor pro-Fubara will today, Tuesday, screen 8 commissioner nominees presented to them by the governor. The Assembly's clerk, Dr. Gillis West, in a letter on Monday, invited the nominees to appear before the House. According to the letter, the House, led by factional Speaker Victor Oko Jumbo, is expected to screen the nominees by 10 a.m. It listed the nominees as Charles Beke, Collins Onuwo, Solomon Eke, Dr. Peter Medi, Eloka Amadi, Baswene Benebon, Tambari Gbara, and Dr. Ovi Chukuma. The clerk further said the nominees are to appear before the House at the State House Assembly, Auditorium, Admin Block, Government House, Port Harcourt, the state capital. Former President Goodluck Jonathan has called for a truce in Rivers State political crisis, asking Governor pro-Fubara and his predecessor, Nyesom Wike, to work together. Jonathan made a call on Monday during the flag-off of the Trans-Calabari Road, describing the incessant battles between governors and their predecessors and political tension in Rivers State as worrisome. Our correspondent Bernard Akede has been keeping tabs on this issue, now reports.
People of Bakana community in Rivers State excited to see former President Goodluck Jonathan at the flag-off ceremony of the Trans-Calabari Road. a road which the people say, when completed, will bring development to the community.
I'm a bona fide child of Bacana. In fact, this place has been something else. The insecurity, the way of going on. Sometimes you prepare, you get to the water side, they say there is lockdown, you couldn't go to your community. But right now, with this road, economic development will rot into our communities.
So the number of years they stayed promising us severally that road will come, severally, that is their normal campaign. But today, man, we are over happy.
Besides just addressing the benefits of the road to be constructed, the former president sees the opportunity to address the lingering political crisis in the state between the sitting governor, Fubara, and his predecessor, Nyesom Wike, who is the current FCT minister.
Honorable Minister Nyesom Wike and Governor Fubara must work together for developing the land and the people of Rivers State. The tension will not help us. Rivers State is very critical in this country. Rivers State is the heart of the Niger Delta. If Rivers State is destabilized, the whole Niger Delta will be destabilized. And it will not end within the Niger Delta alone, because I'm from this part of the country and I know how the system works. And we wouldn't want any crisis in Rivers State.
Recently, some commissioners loyal to Wike have resigned for the second time, while lawmakers faithful to the FCT minister have intensified their brawl with Fubara. But members of the Elders Forum in the state have praised the governor for remaining focused and continuing with projects like this despite the distractions.
He has decided that in spite of the issues around him, he has to continue with the governance of the state and continue with the things he was voted to do. He has to go on implementing projects and commissioning them.
According to the indigenous of the community, the benefits of this road to be constructed are numerous, and their message to the governor is that he overlooks political distraction and continues such good works, road constructions and other infrastructural projects, so that at the end of his tenure, he can look back and celebrate the success of his achievements. In Port Harcourt for News Central, I'm Bernard Akedi.
Joining me on the news from Rivers State to discuss this is a public affairs analyst, Godswill Jumbo. Good afternoon. Glad to have you join me.
Yes, good afternoon. Always
Yes.
a pleasure being with you.
Let me start by asking you how you perceive the truce call by Goodluck Jonathan for peace between Fubara and Nyesom Wike.
Okay. Yesterday, some of us who have been following, tracking the issues in Rivers State were actually impressed. I think the former president lived up to the billing of his reputation. He lived up to the billing of how and the way a statesman carries himself. This is, the way leaders, this is what we actually expected from the president, Bola Tinubu, during the so-called peace truce that he was, organizing. If you look at what he said, he acknowledged there was a situation, there was a crisis situation in the state. He, analyzed the implications. And, Rivers State, Lagos, and Kaduna State are the three pillars on which Nigeria, rests. And for Rivers State, it is more impactful because this is where the oil is coming from. Anything that happens in Rivers State, impacts the rest of the country. And the former president was able to point that out. And then he had to zero in on the key players. And he didn't come condemning anybody. He didn't go upbraiding anybody or reprimanding anybody. He drew them to what they should do. Come together. If you love Rivers State, if you love Rivers people, if you love the development of Rivers State, then you have to find a way to work together. You have to put your differences aside. You have to, play up to the higher issues, to the bigger, imperatives. You have to play to that. And that is what, any state. man should have done. So for us, and we expect that the FCT minister also heard him loud and clear. And in a way, that is a former president speaking. So we would expect that all the presidents, heads of state, and other leaders of Nigeria have spoken through Goodluck Jonathan. And I think everybody should play to that, So that is what we expect for Rivers State.
Just to quickly chip in there, God's will. Just to chip in there, God will recall that the president himself tried to broker peace between Nyesom Wike and Fubara, where he allowed them sign the 8-point, agreement. Now, looking at the antecedents of both Wike and Fubara, do you think this intervention by the former president Goodluck Jonathan can yield any results?
Okay, we expect that this will serve as a watershed, a turning point of how things are playing out in Rivers State. If you also check, after the president has spoken, even the governor's body language during his speech before the former president spoke, you find that component of crisis, that conflict language, that combative, rhetoric was missing. Or just that he was there. The governor had to mind what he was saying. And if you watch the coverage on different platforms, you would notice where even when one of the youth leaders, Ihuo, wanted to go somewhere with his speech, the governor quickly gave him a sign to, cut that out. And he didn't proceed beyond that point. Now, Jonathan's approach is different from Tinubu's approach because in this case, he analyzed the problem and then he gave them action points. He gave them tasks. In the case of the president, Tinubu, he asked them to go and do what is illegal, what is unconstitutional. How can you ask the governor of a state to go and breach the constitution? That is no peace. And look at, did it yield anything? One party was fighting and then the other party was trying to, play along and it wasn't working and this party had to revolt and then the state was almost on fire before this call by the former president coming in and trying to. So we expect that this will be a turning point for the state. This will douse the tension because, whatever Wike is, from being minister, the president, Jonathan, when he was president, appointed him as a minister of education and then later also supported him in his ambition to emerge as governor of Rivers State. And so Nyesom Wike owes him that, a reverence.
If I may come in there, God's will. Just to quickly come in there, God's will. You talked about fighting. I mean, speaking of fighting, we all know in politics, or it appears to be in politics, there are no permanent enemies, in politics, as it were. If you take a critical look over the weekend, we saw the news of members of PDP in Osun State defecting to APC. Now, what are the likely scenarios, bound to play out in this particular case of Nyesom Wike and Governor Fubara?
Okay, yes, the political environment is a shifting ground. It is driven by principles and it is driven by interests. And those interests could be egalitarian or they could be pedestrian. They could be noble or they could be filthy. So these are the two things, principles and interests that drive, actions, alignments in the political space. So in this case now, we are expecting that everybody will remain where they are. By the way, Wike is not moving to APC anytime soon. He may have deceived or misled his, followers to the 27 lawmakers to defect to APC. But Wike knows that Rivers State is PDP. He knows it. He knows it like the back of his hand that Rivers State is PDP. And that's why he's not moving to anywhere. There are speculations that he's staying back to destroy the PDP. Well, he cannot destroy the PDP. He does not have the capacity. He does not have what it takes to destroy the PDP. And then he cannot also continue to use the PDP as a bargaining chip, to get anything from the president anymore, because already he has been unraveled. So I expect that he will find a way to make amends with his political godson, which is the sitting governor of Rivers State. And then, the speculations too that the governor is going to move to APC to appease the president. No, the governor is not moving. You do not need to move to any political party to appease the sitting president of Nigeria. You stay where you are, you focus on development, you partner with the president to make sure that his own programs are effective within your own space. Because actually, even though you are a subnational, you share some level of sovereignty with him. He cannot control you. You are the governor of your state, and you are recognized by the constitution just like he is. So the best that can happen is that the governor will align with the president in terms of governance, in terms of development, in terms of making sure that the people within his state, feel the impact of the presidency that the president is running, within that space. So that's what is going to happen. Nobody is going to decamp to anywhere in Rivers State anymore. In fact, if anybody is going to even decamp, they will come to PDP. Because Rivers State is intensely PDP. I have said it on this program several times. The Rivers State is intensely PDP. That is why Wike is not moving. That is why most of, even the Amechi followers, that were already into APC. You see that they've moved back to PDP, even though
Mr. Jumbo,
former governor Rotimi is still there in APC. Yes,
Well, time like this say will tell, but thank you so much for your insight on the news. Godswill Jumbo, a public affairs analyst. Thank you once again.
You're welcome.
Still staying in Rivers State, the chairman of the opposition All Progressives Congress Party in Rivers State, Chief Tony Okocha, has accused the state governor, Fubara, of being part of the problem in the state's polity. In an exclusive interview with News Central Television, Okocha applauded Fubara's decision to probe governance in the state, but questioned how the governor plans to carry out the undertaking, saying that he was part of the governance he intends to probe.
The other thing again is that I do not also know how the governor today, if his intention is to probe the immediate past governor, how he can possibly absolve himself from complicities. He was Director of Finance and Administration, Government House, that's DFA. He was Permanent Secretary in charge of Finance, Government House. He was Accountant General of the state. And it's talking about financial malfeasance. So how will he, be completely absorbed? Either one way or the other, his name will be mentioned.
The House of Representatives Committee on Finance has threatened to sanction some agencies which have refused to appear before the committee to render accounts of their revenue profile and accurate remittances to government. The vice chairman of the committee, while speaking at the resumed hearing of the committee's revenue monitoring exercise in Abuja, says that it will compel the Accountant General of the Federation to block the account and ensure they abide by the dictates of the committee. He says that 8 agencies were invited and only 2 appeared. Another 2 sought permission of the House to appear at another date, while 4 refused to communicate with the committee or make any appearance.
We expect to have these agencies, we're going to give them letters by tomorrow to appear. Lagos International Trade Fair Complex, National Broadcasting Commission, National Examination Council, and National Inland Waterways Authority. I'm going to repeat. We expect them to cause appearance by tomorrow. Lagos International Trade Fair Complex, National Broadcasting Commission, National Examination Council, and National Inland Waterways Authority. If by tomorrow these agencies fail to appear before this committee by 12 o'clock tomorrow, the committee will resort to take appropriate actions. In fact, we can even take the decision of authorizing Office of the Accountant General to block their accounts. We're doing 50% now, we can block their accounts 100% because we will not take it lightly with any agency.
Thank you for staying tuned. The Nigerian Army has handed over to the Borno state government over 300 civilians who were rescued in the infamous Sambisa forest, where they were taken to after being abducted over 10 years ago. This is to ensure rehabilitation, family tracing, among others, for the rescued persons, which is considered a significant victory in the fight against terrorism in the region. Our correspondent Umaru Kirawa brings us updates from the Sambisa forest.
In the heart of the Sambisa forest, the Nigerian army took another decisive blow at the heart of terrorism and insurgency in Nigeria. No fewer than 386 persons, mostly women and children, were rescued in the Sambisa forest.
This is operation to clear Sambisa of the remnants of the Boko Haram, in fact all the terrorists available. Our effort is to ensure that we clear them, give more rooms for those who want to resign, retire, or surrender.
It was a daring raid deep into the dusty trenches of the Sambisa forest by the troops. The forest used to be a no-go area with an unpredictable terrain.
We have rescued some of the civilians, we have recovered some of our equipment, and they are going to serve us. No, they are a plus.
The army has handed over 350 of the rescued persons to the Borno state government for rehabilitation and subsequent family tracing, among others.
What you are witnessing here today is the outcome of a partnership that has been well coordinated.
It's a usual process for us to receive vulnerable women from the Nigerian army and took them to Bulunkutu for MHPSS and proper documentation.
This recent development has offered a glimmer of hope for those impacted by the years of instability. Clearing the remnants of the marauding terrorists is what the military is battling with to restoring peace and security in the region. The Borno state government has maintained that the mystery around the Sambisa forest, which made it a haven for insurgents, needs to be brought to an end.
There's a need for government to establish military base in Sambisa, in the shores of the Lecture and in Mandra Hills. Our borders are so porous.
It might take some time, according to many, but the resilience of the armed forces in combating insurgency and their dedication to bring it to an end indeed offers real hope. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umaru Kirawa.
In the bid to address systematic challenges in education, Borno State has launched the second phase training program for 781 teachers from 19 local government education authorities. The initiative, held at Ibrahim El Kanemi College of Education, Science and Technology, Bama, aims to elevate teaching standards and revitalize the state's educational system. Our correspondent Umaru Kirawa has details.
Coupled with the Boko Haram insurgency, the sorry state of our public schools and low standard of education has denied millions of our children the chance to meet their potentials, thereby contributing some of the challenges we are facing today.
The Shehu of Bama, a first-class traditional leader, narrating the situation in the educational sector in Borno. Amidst concerns over educational deficiencies in Borno, the state government is taking steps to improve the situation.
Yes, we are complaining before because we know that we have already do the exam and we did what we already do, but after us they said that we did not pass.
Most of them, they failed the examination. So the Excellency observed that the teachers need a training. As a result of that, he introduced this program again to give them another opportunity.
As the government upgrading the teachers, and still we are hoping that government will look after the FUVIs to build the schools, the furnitures and the rest.
The 3-month training for 781 teachers from 19 local government education authorities is taking place in Bama town. This strategic location was chosen to ensure the program reaches educators in even the most remote parts of the state.
Let us unite in our endeavor to advance education in our state, guided by the principles of integrity, excellence, hard work, and meritocracy.
The training covers a wide range of topics, including teaching methodologies, classroom management, among others.
We are committed to merit, competency, and due process.
in addressing the long-standing challenges the teaching profession in Borno State is facing. We acknowledge the effect of policy negligence and we resolve to overcome those obstacles.
The state deputy governor flagged off the training exercise for the teachers with the handing over of over 700 million naira check. As the state continues to recover from the effects of the insurgency, this teacher training program is seen as an important step in rebuilding the education system and ensuring that Borno's children have access to quality learning opportunities. In Bama for News Central, Umaru Kirawa.
Nigeria's Federal Ministry of Health has commenced the review of the 2019 National Health Management Information System. The ministry says that this is aimed at identifying the gaps and challenges visible in the sector and the system, incorporate new data elements and remove redundant data that hinders accurate and timely collection of data for the nation's health sector. News Central's Emmanuel Bagudo reports.
The National Health Management Information System provides comprehensive information for evidence-based planning and decision-making in Nigeria's health sector. It is supposed to be reviewed biannually to update the document based on new trends and current realities.
The National Health Management Information System, and this is a system that collects, collates, and reports service statistics to the national reporting platform. And the whole system is holistic in that it combines both the routine system and then the survey-based indicators.
It's a system that is helping the country to ensure that it has relevant data, to ensure that actions are taken real time. For example, if there are outbreaks, you need to have surveillance data. If surveys are done, you need to have that, so that even as a country we can report to ourselves and to the international community of what Nigeria is not alone. So we are in the Africa region and we're also in the global space. So we need to have right information at the right time.
The National Health Management Information System is currently being reviewed with the partnership of international non-governmental organizations working on health thematic areas in Nigeria.
What facilities do they have? What support do they have? What logistics do they have? How are partners being brought together to bring this information? So a lot has been done, but we can always be better than what we're having. For instance, as we're talking now, we have in some places, we are still talking about data capturing tools on paper. Why are we not digitalizing everything? So these are some of the things that can be done to improve the quality of data that we have in Nigeria.
The exercise is expected to take 5 days and will resume after another 2 years. In Abuja for News Central, I'm Emmanuel Bagudu.
Some traders and market women in Benin City, Edo State capital, have taken to the streets to protest against what they call the effects of evil unions and bad market leadership. The protesters, led by the president of the Trade Welfare Union of Nigeria, took to the Secretariat of the Nigeria Union of Journalists to register their displeasure. Our correspondent, Joshua Imadiyi, tells us more.
An end to the abandonment of bond markets by state government and an end to the hijacking of the markets by individuals claiming to be members of the market union. They say the unions are evil and have been perpetuating artificial scarcity, causing hardship for traders and consumers alike.
Evil union, bad market leaders, they are causing artificial scarcity in our market in Edo State. When they succeed to compel you to join their union, they give you time to come to market. That is why today, when you come to market, it's not everybody that is selling garri that you will sell there. It's not everybody that is selling fish see there. They share people that will come to the market, causing artificial scarcity. We carry food from Edo State to Lagos. Food is much cheaper in Lagos than Edo State.
The protesters are calling on the state government to intervene and address their grievances.
The problem that's brought us majorly to this place is that of a Kiosa market. We are in pain, sir. We are in pain. They promised that they are going to be that market for just 4 months. Immediately, it was 3 months plus. We have not even seen any sign We are getting information that the place has been sold. We are not getting anything any longer because things are cost. We are not getting benefit from what we are buying any longer because the rate at which we buy it is on the high side. No profit any longer. So we are begging the government, they should please come to our aid.
Bring the, let's say, vegetable down to a market. If you didn't join their union to register with 150,000 and some crate of malt and beer and wine. Even Gary. Yes, everything. So that's why that's the high cost of things.
The Nigerian Union of Journalists expressed solidarity with the protesters, calling on the state government to listen to their demands and take urgent action to address their grievances.
Now you have also brought out some of the reasons why this hike is everywhere in Edo State. You have also let us know that there are middlemen and women who are siphoning buyers by ensuring that articles and wares that are being sold in marketplaces are of the high side. Therefore, that is why we choose to take this protest. So we support you. I want to assure you that we will report it accurately.
The protesters are demanding an end to bad market leadership. They say they want justice and fairness in the management of market in Benin City. In Abuja for News Central, I am Joshua Imarai.
The Corruption Watch says it welcomes the judgment handed down by the Constitutional Court on Monday regarding the Independent Electoral Commissioner's appeal against the Electoral Court order on the eligibility of former President Jacob Zuma's candidacy in the upcoming election. The organization says this represents a win for civil society and demonstrates the strength and independence of the South African judiciary, which is an important protector of the Constitution. The Court ruled that Zuma was not eligible or qualified to stand for election to the National Assembly. And for more on this, I'm joined by an attorney of Corruption Watch, Nkululeko Konko. Good afternoon from here. Glad to have you join me.
Good afternoon. Thank you.
Let me kick off by asking you, how does Corruption Watch view the Constitutional Court's decision regarding the eligibility of Jacob Zuma to go to Parliament based on his criminal record?
We're pleased with the Constitutional Court's ruling as it affirms the Constitutional Court's role in upholding the rule of law and the Constitution. And it also confirms that the elected leaders should be held to a higher standard of account and that they are expected themselves to uphold the rule of law, the Constitution, and to promote both the Constitution and the rule of law in South Africa.
But then in what ways does Corruption Watch, believe this judgment demonstrates the court's commitment to upholding the rule of law in South Africa?
The court allowed for robust engagement from both the applicants as well as appellants as well as the respondents and the amici curiae, the friends of the court. And what the court's ruling does is that it really underpins how important it is for elected officials to respect the rule of law, to uphold the rule of law, and to promote the rule of law. By saying that, it also requires that the lawmakers or politicians and members of the legislature should then are bound by the law and are also expected to respect the various institutions involved in its process, so respecting the judiciary and respecting the other arms of the state. And with our history coming out of apartheid, it's extremely important that our politicians understand and expect and respect the rule of law itself, because we come from a position where we had rule by law. And this just means that there will hopefully be a general fairness and respect of the people's wishes and respect of the law itself.
I know you talked about this ruling likely shaping the attitude of public officers, those in power, respecting the law and also the ethics of governance. But then how does Corruption Watch, plan to monitor and also advocate for the enforcement of these judgments to ensure its impact on promoting transparency and also accountability in government?
Fortunately, Corruption Watch doesn't itself have to monitor the fact that the judgment is put into effect, or the enforcement of the judgment. The constitutional institutions or constitutionally mandated institutions, such as the National Assembly and the Electoral Commission, the Independent Electoral Commission, will do that. However, on an ongoing basis, Corruption Watch will keep being involved in trying to hold those in power to account, both elected officials as well as in the private sector. And we will keep raising the alarm where there are issues that we note where the elected officials are not abiding by their duties, and where the elected officials seemingly are getting away with unlawful behavior, unlawful conduct, and are not doing what is expected. So both the holding to account as well as the consequence management are things that we are interested in and that we are actively working towards on an ongoing basis.
But Nkululeko, looking ahead, I mean, what steps does Corruption Watch recommend for ensuring that similar cases of public officials with criminal records are addressed, as soon as possible in accordance with the rule of law for future purposes?
Okay. So I think that the judgment is very helpful in making it quite clear what the legal position is. And what that will help with is it will help the IEC itself being able to make the determination and hopefully not be second guessed once they've made the determination. It will help the electoral court also in exercising its duties so that it'll be clear that elected officials, at least in the National Assembly, will not be able to stand for political office if they have been convicted of a crime that falls within the category of Section 47 of our Constitution. The other thing that it will help, we believe, is that it will send us a clear message in relation to accountability, in relation to the elected officials, that we will not, as a society, be tolerating people who have flagrantly disregarded the law being put in those positions. And one would hope that we would be able to see this filtering into the different spheres of government. So both the provincial legislatures as well as the local municipalities, not allowing people who go out of their way to disregard the law, then being put in positions of authority, positions where they handle public finances, make decisions on behalf of the electorate, and decisions where they might not be responsible in how they carry out their duties.
Well, thank you so much. That's the most we can take. Thank you so much for your insight. Nkululeko Kanko, thank you once again.
Thank you.
South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa says Pala Pala Farm is processing Sudanese businessman Hazim Mustafa's claim for a refund for buffalo. Ramaphosa identified Mustafa as the person who paid a roughly 8 million rand in cash in his responses to the Office of the Public Protector, which investigated complaints that the president violated the Executive Members Ethics Act by failing to declare his business interests. Mustafa allegedly paid 580,000 rand in cash for buffalo on 25th December 2019, handing the money to an employee of Ramaphosa's Fala Fala farm. The South African rand hit its strongest on Monday compared to US dollars and other currencies. This has been its strongest level since 2023. The rand is trading at 18.15 rand to a dollar and 19.75 to euro and 23.05 to British pound. Meanwhile, in April, the currency had slipped to around 19.30 to a dollar at one point as national elections set in. Analysts have also pointed to the polls as showing a more market-friendly outcome. For the second consecutive year, the World Table Tennis Contender will be taking place in Lagos with Nigerian international Aruna Quadri headlining the players that will participate in the competition. According to the statement from the organizers, Quadri is slated to make his first Contender Series appearances on the home soil next month in Lagos. Another notable Nigerian player in the men's single is world number 96, Omotayo Olajide, who also just secured a place at the Paris Olympics. In the female category, Edem Ofyong, Fatima Bello, Hope Uduaka, and Ajoke Ojomu are the top Nigerian stars in the category. At least 28 Nigerians will be in contention for the $80,000 prize money placed on the tournament. And that's all on the news at this hour. But before we go, let's take a look again at some of the major stories. Electricity workers lock out Minister of Power, issue 14-day ultimatum for reversal of tariff increase. Pro-Fubara lawmakers to screen 8 commissioner-nominees in Rivers State. South Africa's rand hit strongest position against US dollar since 2023. Send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen and follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch us live on DSTV, channel 422, Star Times, channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Adebola Adeduba.